This would be a steal for the Texans if they can pull this off before the trade deadline next month. And it has major implications on how stacked this defense can be going forward. And we're going to break down the latest rumor trade for the Houston Texans right here on Texans Digest. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo. We appreciate you joining us as always. And if you have not yet already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on your favorite H-Town team. We're here to talk about Texans football, currently 2-3 in the NFL, third place in the AFC South, coming off a bye week, heading into a primetime Monday night matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. But trade deadline is almost here, about a month away, and there's going to be a lot of rumors going around of potential players the Texans can be acquiring up until then. Now, I do expect the Texans to make a move at some point. It's just a matter of when and who exactly it's going to be. But there's a lot of names being thrown about right now. We saw Breece Hall yesterday in yesterday's video, but there's another name by the same guy, Bradley Locker from Pro Football Focus, who has been talking about another one of these additions to the team, and that was our topic for today. The Texans have been urged to pursue a trade from a former All-Pro defender. That All-Pro defender is none other than Jamal Adams. Many of you know him from his time as a New York Jet and the fantastic years that he has had in New York, being an All-Pro player. Now, he has since, he's not the same player. I'm going to start off with that. He is by no means going to be that kind of player that we would be getting, but it would be an additional veteran on the team to get on the defensive side of the ball. And again, a 3-time Pro Bowl defender in Jamal Adams. I feel like a guy like that is worth getting if you are the Houston Texans, and a price is right. And Bradley Locker explains his reasoning in his latest article, saying, quote, "Amid the Raiders' floundering start, Adams has surprisingly enjoyed a career resurgence. Now playing mostly as a linebacker, the former Jet star has earned an 80 overall PFF grade on 132 snaps. He's flourished in coverage with a 78.7 PFF coverage grade and only 47 yards allowed on 70 coverage snaps. Plus, has contributed 8 stops." And he continued to talk about Jamal Adams, saying, "Playing 23 or more snaps in the box, slot, or along the defensive line, Adams is a versatile asset who could boost teams looking for linebacker or safety help." Now, quick word. The Texans right now are one of the best defenses in the NFL. Help isn't exactly what they need. But of course, one can argue that at any great team, whether it's in the past, whether what league you are in, what sport you're playing, all the great teams continuously try to find ways to improve on how good they are and improve the team in all aspects. And that can include the defense, which has fantastic numbers so far this year. Very impressed with how we've been playing recently on defense. But to add an additional veteran to that just makes this defense stronger, just makes this unit, this defensive unit, stand out to its NFL counterparts. And that is the focus of this. Adding Adams would bring in some versatility, as Locker said, bring in some experience, just another layer of talent to this defense. And the defense, again, if I take you to some of these stats here, are absolutely phenomenal. Total defense, the Texans are 4th ranked in the NFL so far. Defensive yards average that they're giving up is 265.8 yards and 8 touchdowns allowed. We're going to go through some stats here that the Texans defense has put forth this season. Passing defense, we're ranked 5th with 175 passing yards allowed, only 3 touchdowns coming from the air game. Rushing defense has also been fairly solid, right? 7th in the NFL, 90.6 rush yards allowed, 5 touchdowns allowed on the ground. Scoring defense, Texans are ranked number 1. 12.2 points per game is what their opponents are scoring on them, which is very, very low, the lowest in the NFL, and only 8 touchdowns allowed so far. The only area where the Texans defense seems to struggle is red zone defense. This is their ranking so far in red zone defense, currently ranked 22nd in the NFL. Once teams reach the end zone, they are 63.6% likely to score once they reach that mark. And so that is an area where I can see Nick Caserio looking at his roster and saying, how can we improve right here, right? How can we get better in our red zone defense to give our offense, which needs the help, every opportunity it can to receive that help and to help score some points and give them some room for that offense. And red zone defense is where I see Nick Caserio looking at this team and saying, hey, how can we fix this? And I think Jamal Adams is an intriguing person to help fix that problem, is to give some, again, experience, some veteran leadership on those very, very important downs in the under the 20-yard line is very, very a good thing for this team to focus on going forward, because everything else seems to be checking out. I mean, red zone defense seems to be the only thing. Third down defense, Houston Texans are 8th ranked in the NFL, 36.1% third down rate for their opposing teams. And so everything is looking very, very good for this defense, minus that red zone defense, which can be improved upon. And so I look at a guy like Jamal Adams, who can do a lot and that can do a lot of good things, who is so far this year has kind of showed himself to be better than a lot of people thought he was. Many thought he was kind of on a bit of a slope down for his career, but he's shown some flashes so far playing with the Raiders and playing with that team that he can still be a valued player. And so I do not want the Texans to kind of look at this and say, hey, our defense is fine, we don't want to do anything. And that's not the approach that Nick Caserio is looking at either. As he said, quote right here, we try to maintain as much flexibility as possible, so we're in a decent spot. If there's a situation out there that we feel makes sense and it works out, great. If it doesn't, then okay. We're prepared to handle it with the players that we have here. And I do want to emphasize this point right here. As much as I would like to have a guy like Jamal Adams on the team, I do think it offers a lot of valuable upside. If a deal can't be made, if a deal is not in a position where it makes sense for the Texans, then don't make it, right? The Texans don't necessarily need Jamal Adams. It would just be very, very nice to have Jamal Adams on those very important downs and playing next to Azeez Al-Shaair, right? Having those two guys play amongst each other. And so if the deal makes sense, I do think this is a guy to go out and go get. But once again, you don't really want to break what's not broken, or you don't want to fix what's not broken. And so once I see this defense and I see them play out, and we're going to see another big test against a pretty good Seattle Seahawks team to see exactly how good this team is and how good their defense is, it's going to be a huge indicator of whether or not Nick Caserio decides to make a move, right? Why trade for someone when the defense is ranked first overall and when their red zone defense is getting better and better? Again, a lot of games to go before that trade deadline. I believe we have 3 or 4 more games before that trade deadline. So there's a lot to be had, a lot of dominoes to fall to see what is going to happen and who and what move this team is going to make before next month's trade deadline. But let me know in the comments what you think about Jamal Adams and the possibility of him becoming a Houston Texan. I think the deal makes sense. It's all a matter of what players would we be giving up. Again, this defense is solid. If anything, trading for some sort of offensive asset would also be very good. Some sort of offensive lineman would be great as well. But all those details, and if anything pops up throughout the week, throughout the month, we will be giving you those videos right here on Texans Digest. We're going to give you up to date and talk about Texans football. Again, very important Monday night game against the Seattle Seahawks this upcoming Monday. You don't want to miss the lead up. Until that, we got videos for you planned. We'll see you guys on the next one. Let me know what you think in the comments. Adios.